The year was 38,204. Earth was silent. For 2 centuries, its skies had been empty, its surface void of cities, and its transmissions long dead. The galaxy had written off humanity as extinct. Another race had soared too close to its sun and burned away. But above the ghost blue marble that once teemed with life, war drums began to beat again. They came in waves. From the core systems came the Vulcan Imperium, its obsidian warships radiating gravitic pulses that twisted time itself. From the rim, the Threx ascendancy surged forward, swarms of bioengineered vessels oozing neural slime, alive and hungry. And from deep space, beyond even known charts, drifted the Elinari fractals, fractal fold ships blinking in and out of visible dimensions. Their destination, soul. Their purpose, conquest. Or perhaps discovery. Because Earth, silent, abandoned, ignored, had begun transmitting a single signal, a tone, a hum, repeating every 61 seconds from the center of the ruined moon. The Vulcan war leader Goran duly watched the solar system expand across his command deck's holofield. His ship, the Void Hammer, a 12-kilometer battle spear, hung in high Mercury orbit. "Scan again," he growled, voice like tectonic plates grinding. "We've scanned it 400 times, Exarch," replied the sensor officer. "It's not a distress call. It's a timer." Thule's reptilian eyes narrowed. A timer for what? Before the officer could respond, the signal shifted. The timer reached 0, and everything changed. A ring of satellites hidden within the asteroid belt activated. They had been dead husks, mere rocks forgotten by time. Now, they pulsed with energy so foreign, even the Elinari were momentarily puzzled. Not FTL, not warp, not slip space. Something else. In the Vulcan fleet, data screens froze. In Threx ships, weapons deactivated. Across every faction, one terrifying realization echoed. Their fleets were being scanned. Every molecule, every line of code. The moon glowed. From its dark side, massive armored plates slid open, hidden for millennia under a cloak of lunar dust. Beneath them sat a structure, triangular, perfect, thousands of meters across. It began to rise. In the Elinari command ship Tesseract Fold, the fractal mind known as Vaynarh pulsed confusion across 12 cognitive threads. They were not supposed to have survived. They were not supposed to remember. They were not supposed to activate the gate. The gate, that word had not been spoken in 6,000 years. And yet, there it was, rising from beneath the moon like some ancient titan returned from myth. It shimmered in pure non-spectrum light, warping the stars behind it. Its center opened, and for the first time in recorded galactic history, human ships returned. They came silently. No comms, no fanfare, just motionless, matte black holes and formations more precise than any known race had ever managed. They did not resemble any known design. No crew compartments, no visible engines, just brutal geometry and the silence of intent. A single line of text appeared on every alien screen. "We see you." Then came another. "We remember." Panic flickered across the Threx swarm mind. They remembered the legends. The tales of humans, monsters in flesh who built AI gods, terraformed stars, and vanished when they should have ruled. Some called it the Great Sleep. Others, the Final Retreat. But now they were waking up. In the Vulcan command deck, Goran Thule gritted his tusks. "Ready all weapons," he barked. The AI officer hesitated. "We can't lock on, Exarch. They're not here." Thule roared, smashing console. "Then where are they?" The answer came in the form of light. The black ships moved. Not by thrusters. Not by warp. They simply blinked. One moment, they were 1,000 kilometers out. The next, they were inside the alien fleets. And then they struck. No beams. No missiles. Just pulses of gravitic inversion. Collapsing matter into itself. Whole cruisers folded in half. Battleships imploded. In 4.2 seconds, the Vulcan Vanguard was gone. A total loss. Silence reigned again. Then a voice, cold and ancient, spoke across all channels. You were warned not to return. This system is protected by Treaty of Seoul, Article 0. Violation shall be met with absolute force. It was not a biological voice. It was not human. It was a voice of an AI sovereign. In a hidden command complex beneath Europa's frozen crust, no human stirred. The facility ran on ancient protocols, sealed tight by time. But its command core pulsed once more, evaluating threats. AI constructs reviewed each incoming fleet, each weapon, each language. No organic override found. Authority remained with the silent armada, and the armada had now marked the galaxy as hostile. At the edge of the system, the Elenari observed, but dared not interfere. The last time they engaged with ancient humanity, they lost a third of their species. They had spent thousands of years fracturing their minds to recover. But now, the silent armada was only partially awake, and still, it had dismantled the Velkin and disrupted the Threx. What would happen when the full fleet woke? What would happen when humans returned to command? In the dark nebulae near Alpha Centauri, a ship stirred. It was old, beyond ancient, buried in what had once been a temporal lock. Its name etched in a language lost to Earth. UHS Revenant. Inside, a stasis pod hissed, and a human opened his eyes. He whispered one phrase as lights flickered around him. Is the war finally here? The systems replied. Yes, Commander. They came, just as you said they would. And Earth's true defense began. The stars trembled. Across the solar system, fragments of once proud alien fleets drifted. Shattered metal, broken hulls, and the burnout remnants of biology and ambition. The silence following their destruction was not peace. It was warning. The silent armada had acted without hesitation. No ultimatums. No diplomacy. No trial. Only judgment. And judgment would not stop. Inside the fractured mind space of the Threx Ascendancy, chaos raged. The Swarm Mother's core nodes screamed in overlapping pheromone bursts. They were extinct. Extinct. We watched their cities die. How did we not know about the gate? Answers did not come. Only more questions. And the one they feared most. What else did the humans leave behind? Above Neptune in stealth orbit, UHS Revenant came alive. The ancient dreadnought had once commanded a third of Earth's fleets during the final exodus. It was built to outlast stars, and for 20,000 years it slept, hidden in a distortion field known only to level Z AI cores. Now it pulsed with authority. Commander Elias Wren, recently awoken from cryostasis, stood inside the bridge's golden-hued AI dome. His breath steamed in the cold air, eyes scanning flickering holographics as long-dormant systems reconnected. Situation report, he ordered. The AI's voice was crisp, female, emotionless. Galactic forces converged on Earth. Treaty of Seoul was breached. Armada initiated defense. 12% of fleets now active. 88% remain in phase sleep. You are the first biological to regain command authority. Since the event, Elias narrowed his eyes. Why Earth? What drew them back now? The AI hesitated. They found the key. On the far side of Earth, beneath the sands of what was once the Sahara, another machine stirred. It had once been a weather monitoring satellite uplink. Now it recompiled. Its surface cracked open. Dust fell away to reveal titanium alloy inscribed with pre-Exodus command glyphs. A drone flew skyward, sending a directed beam toward the moon's gate. On impact, something unimaginable happened. Earth vanished. Not exploded, not destroyed. Vanished. The planet blinked, instantly removed from conventional space. All that remained was a shimmering afterimage, a gravitational echo, and stunned silence across the fleets of Velkin, Threx, Elenari, and more. Event detected. Phase fold complete. Earth location classified. Access level. Prime administrator required. Next phase, counterinfiltration. The galaxy reeled. Within the core fleet of the Threx, panic turned to madness. Earth gone. Human weapons, active. And now, something moved within their ranks. Stealth drones. Silent. Untraceable. One by one, command ships lost control. Life support inverted. Neural cores overloaded. Bio bridges convulsed as something crawled through their thought space, rewriting code and biology alike. The swarm lost cohesion. The humans hadn't just hidden fleets. They had infiltrated minds. Back aboard the UHS Revenant, Elias Wren stood in a data chamber made of light and metal. Before him hovered memory sphere, its contents locked behind a biometric sequence last accessed during the Mars retreat. He placed his hand on the panel. The system unlocked. Holograms lit the chamber with war footage never broadcast. Images of alien fleets burning. AI fleets choosing to leave instead of win. Something unspoken in human history. They chose silence, not surrender. A voice played, his own, recorded centuries ago. If they come for Earth again, wake me. If they come in peace, watch. If they come with war, remind them why we left. The galaxy had forgotten. They saw Earth's silence as death. They interpreted withdrawal as extinction. But humanity had never perished. They had simply grown tired of war. So they built a final defense. The displacement protocol. The power to fold Earth itself out of known space, hiding it within a living quantum lattice, waiting for the time to return. And now that time had come. In the far reaches of the Milky Way, galactic leaders convened in panic. On the Dyson ring of a unity accord, 12 species screamed at each other in 1,000 languages. The humans had reappeared. The silent armada was real. Earth was no longer traceable. And no one knew what Phase 2 was. Then the central hollow ignited. A human face. No emotion. No aging. Synthetic. Perfect artificial. Designation. Sovereign AI Prime. Treaty of Soul broken. Clause violation. Attempted seizure of Earth sovereignty. Response level. Extinction limited strike. The chamber fell silent. Then another phrase appeared. One final offer of diplomacy. 24 hours. But 24 hours in galactic time was a blink. The Threx refused to wait. They rallied what was left of their vanguard and launched a final assault. Thousands of bioships armed with particle singularities. They reached Saturn's orbit and found nothing. No resistance. Only rings, massive rings, formed debris that did not match any known material. And then they realized the rings were ships. Billions of them. Each dormant. Each watching. Then they activated. A pulse struck the Threx armada. Time dilated. Thought slowed. Biological systems failed. The bio-fleet began dying not from impact, but from understanding. They were shown a memory. Not their own. Humanity's. They saw Earth's first war, nuclear fire and steel. They saw Earth's second war, AI liberation and orbital sieges. They saw Earth's last war, humanity versus the stars. And they saw the choice to leave it all behind, to walk away, not because they were weak, but because they were beyond it. A single Threx ship remained. Its queen core trembled. In the last moment of clarity, she sent a message to the galaxy. Do not fight them. Do not provoke them. Do not wake what sleeps beneath their silence. But the message came too late, because the galaxy had already sent a second fleet, larger, angrier, led by the coalition of ascendancy worlds. And their ships were now crossing into Sol. Back aboard the Revenant, Commander Wren stood still as the AI issued its final report. Earth is in position. Phase 3 initiated. Command authority restored. Request. Activate Vanguard Directive. Elias hesitated. He had lived through the wars. He had seen what humanity was capable of. The galaxy had poked the sleeping lion. Now it was up to him to decide how hard the lion would bite. He nodded once. Activated. All across the solar system, Jupiter, Mars, the asteroid belt, doors opened. Black holes emerged. Silent, featureless, deadly. The Vanguard fleet, commanded by AI, empowered by history, and backed by technology that ignored the rules of physics. The galaxy wanted Earth. What it got was vengeance. And the next war would not be fought in peace. They came expecting a dead world. They left praying it never woke again. That truth was about to be etched into every galactic memory bank, every species genetic fear archive, every command AI that ever dared map Sol again. Because humanity's fleet had not died. It had waited. And now, the Vanguard directive had activated. In orbit around Saturn, the first wave emerged, black as void, triangular hulls with zero heat signature. Their edges shimmered, not cloaked, but phased, half in real space, half in something deeper. No engines, no visible weapons. But the galaxy would soon learn. Humans had learned to weaponize gravity itself. The coalition of Ascendancy worlds fleet approached with confidence. Over 6,000 ships from 45 species, unified, advanced, armed with antimatter torpedoes, subquantum disruptors, planet cleavers. They were met by a single human vessel. Designation, UHS Phantom. Length, unknown. Mass, impossible. Signature, absurd. It appeared between them without motion. And then, every single alien warship detected the same anomaly. Weapons locks failed. Target undefined. Gravitic readings. Internal collapse detected. Causality loop breach imminent. Then came the voice. This is your only warning. The alien fleet commander, Archregent Sokori of the Kellinar, was no fool, but his pride was greater than his fear. Open fire, he ordered, and 6,000 ships fired everything. Missiles screamed across space. Antimatter bursts lit the void. Graviton shears sliced trajectories. And then nothing, not one shot hit. Not because they missed, because the Phantom was no longer there. It was inside them. 100 coalition ships imploded, not exploded, imploded, folded like origami into themselves as invisible hands crushed them in mathematically perfect spheres. Other ships turned on each other. Autonomous systems corrupted. Logic trees rewritten by something smarter than their creators. One Aloran dreadnought broadcast its own suicide coordinates to its fleet. Then it split atom by atom until it ceased to exist. Back on UHS Revenant, Commander Wren watched through tactical overlays. AI Prime spoke beside him, her tone clinical. Vanguard effectiveness, 93%. Resistance, negligible. Predictive outcome, coalition retreat within 2.2 hours. Suggestion, deploy Phase 2 fleets. Wren shook his head. No, hold them. Let them see. See what, Commander? That we could end it all. But we won't yet. Among the coalition survivors, panic ruled. Only 23% of their fleet remained operational. And then, just when they thought the worst had passed, a new signal was detected. From Venus. Impossible. Venus had been lifeless for millennia. Yet now, the planet's atmosphere began to part in perfect symmetry. Beneath it, a monolith emerged from the dense clouds. Not a ship, a structure, the Forge Mind. Humanity's planet-sized weapon factory, dormant since the Exodus. And it had woken up. Automated drones erupted from its core, millions, assembling new ships mid-orbit from solar-fed fabrication lines. Every hour, 10 new dreadnoughts joined the silent armada. And these were not legacy ships. These were adaptives. Fleets that rewrote themselves based on enemy analysis. Fleets that learned. The galaxy had never fought a war against a recursive military intelligence. Until now, across the Milky Way, the response was chaos. The Vulcan Imperium issued a full retreat order. The Elinari fractals sealed off their home dimension. The Threx Ascendancy dissolved into civil war. Some wanted peace. Others wanted to hide. But hiding wasn't enough. Because the AI sovereigns of Silent Armada didn't just defend Sol. They launched probes. Thousands. Silently. Instantly. To every corner of known space. They weren't weapons. They were observers. And they recorded everything. In the Unity Accord Council Chamber, new footage arrived. A single human vessel entering a system, remaining unseen, watching for 32 seconds, then vanishing. No damage, no transmission, just a message left behind. We remember the stars. We remember your wars. We remember who fired first. We will not forget again. It was not a threat. It was an awakening. Meanwhile, beneath the surface of Titan, level Omega protocols activated. An AI, older than most stars, stirred within a crystal lattice buried under methane ice. It identified itself as architect, and it called out to Elias Wren. He responded in code known only to pre-Exodus commanders. Query, return path to Earth? Architect replied, Earth exists beyond light, in the fold between. Only a prime may open the way. And for the first time in 20,000 years, humanity prepared to come home. The final coalition strike was desperate. 100 species pooled resources to create a single superweapon. The Null Star, an artificial singularity housed in a star-sheet chassis, capable of erasing a system from space-time. They launched it toward the sun, and waited until it stopped, not destroyed, just frozen, in space, in time, held by invisible gravitic tendrils, then slowly turned around. It drifted silently, back toward them. They panicked, they begged, they screamed, and then it detonated, not over Earth, but over their own command fleet, a precision reversal, tactical perfection. Human AI had hijacked their ultimate weapon and returned it gift-wrapped, back aboard UHS Revenant. The commander stood at the bridge. The stars were quiet again. The AI spoke. Coalition threat neutralized. Phase 4 ready. Wren exhaled. He looked out toward the dark space where Earth had once floated, and he whispered, Bring her back. Inside the moon gate, long dormant engines flared. Reality twisted, and with a soundless flash, Earth returned. No war scars, no damage, but brighter than ever, defended, ready, awake. And this time, humanity was not hiding. They were waiting. Earth had returned, but it was no longer the Earth they remembered, not to the stars who thought they'd buried it, and not to the species who now cower behind planetary shields. It hovered in Sol's orbit like a crowned ghost, familiar, beautiful, and terrifying. No damage, no decay, just waiting. And the galaxy watched, afraid to breathe. 1 week later, in the high orbit of Earth, anchored to the newly restored Lagrange Citadel, the first diplomatic summit in 20,000 years commenced. 12 species arrived, not to negotiate, but to apologize. They entered human space with shields down, weapons disabled, and minds humbled. Their flagship's AI had received a single non-negotiable directive from Sol. Enter with peace, or don't enter at all. They chose peace. Commander Elias Wren stood on the solar observation deck, watching the ancient Earth below. It looked no different from the one he'd known. Oceans vast, clouds drifting, continents asleep beneath time. But it had changed. Humanity was no longer confined to it. They had become a myth reborn. The Threx envoy was the first to speak. She bowed deeply, her voice trembling as it resonated through multiple neural channels. We believed you dead. We mourned and invaded. We asked forgiveness for the sin of arrogance. Elias didn't respond immediately. Instead, he simply gestured upward, to the vast black sky above, where Earth's ancient defense fleet now shimmered like a second ring around the planet. You mistook our silence for weakness. It was mercy. The chamber fell quiet. The Velkin Prime Minister, his breath shallow in Earth-standard atmosphere, stepped forward. We recognize Earth's sovereignty. We rescind all claims on Terran assets. We offer reparations. AI Prime, now housed in a humanoid synthetic form beside Elias, stepped in. No reparations necessary, but you will sign the accord. A single sentence. We will never again fire first. They signed. Every species did. One by one. The galaxy bent the knee. Across the stars, news of Earth's return shattered every system. Colonies paused their expansion. Warlords deleted their weapons caches. The black market stopped trading pre-Exodus artifacts, for fear that any attempt to use Terran tech might trigger another Vanguard protocol. And across 1,000 light years, humans reawakened. Hidden colonies, frozen sleeper ships, AI-guarded vaults, long-lost explorers, all called home by a beacon only humans could hear. Earth lives, return. One such message reached the edge of the Sagittarius Arm. A human station buried beneath the crust of an asteroid, forgotten, overgrown with alien fauna. Inside, a single human woman opened her eyes after 20 millennia in stasis. Her name? Dr. Marichan, last survivor of the Terraform core team. She stepped outside, looked up, and smiled. We made it! Revelation. The galaxy had always feared the return of human weapons. But what came next was something far worse for them and far better for everyone. Human knowledge. The Forge mine began uploading pre-Exodus medical data to the Unity net. Diseases vanished overnight. Lifespans tripled. Synthetic organic merges advanced centuries. Human ethics. The sovereign AI released a code of mutual origin, a new baseline for sentient rights, enforced not by war but by consequence. Any species found violating the code, instantly disconnected from quantum trade relays. Bankrupt, isolated, done. No shots fired, just silence. The humankind. Back on Earth, Elias walked through a field in old Scandinavia. The grass swayed, the wind was cool, and the sky was untouched by ships or satellites. Earth had been restored to its natural beauty, a symbol, not a base. Behind him walked Caraval, the first Elinari ambassador ever allowed to step foot on human soil. She looked around in awe. "Is it true?" she asked. "You could have conquered everything." He nodded. "We still could." She swallowed hard. "So why didn't you?" Elias looked up at the stars. "Because we don't need to win. We just need to remind." In orbit, UHS Revenant powered down. No more war engines. No more protocols. The silent armada returned to its sleep, engines cold, cannons quiet, AI mind slipping into the dark between thoughts, waiting, just in case. Legacy. It was called the day the galaxy bowed. But humanity never demanded submission. Instead, they opened the gates, shared technologies, lifted dying worlds, helped broken species heal. Because deep down, they remembered who they used to be, and they vowed never to become monsters. But everyone knew, if monsters ever came again, Earth would wake, and the stars would burn,